Good morning. It's Andrea Dancing Star. It's October 1st and it's raining. It was like clear skies, sunny skies. Well, I say clear skies. There was smoke from the fires, but the wind has been blowing like crazy hard for the last 2 days, and it's just been sunny. And I went to the forest yesterday. Um, and I went to this tree where I saw a hawk owl. Um, and I looked for the hawk owl, and I know it lives there because I found a whole bunch of owl pellets. But I didn't see the hawk owl. So they don't actually like live here. They migrate here in the summertime. So I'm wondering if like A, it was just out hunting, or B, it's like gonna migrate. I don't know where, back north. They're more up north birds, hawk owls are. It was really close to me one day. Like it scared the shit out of me because it flew like I was standing by its nest. And you know how owls are so good at looking like trees. They're really good at looking like trees. And I was just standing there and I was looking, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, right next to me, and I could like feel its wind, the wings, like wind that its wings were making. I could feel it. It was really big too. So immediately I got to see it up close, so that's how I know it was a hawk owl. Because then I like did this in-depth Google search on all of the different, because it left me some feathers too. Yeah, it did. But yeah, I went there yesterday. The wind was blowing crazy, but once you get in the forest, like the forest kind of blocks all of that crazy wind. I mean, it was still pretty windy in the forest, but it wasn't near as windy as it is like where I am now. There's definitely trees like outside, but there's not as many as there are in the forest. It's pretty windy. I love it. I love it. I went and I laid after I found the owl pellets. I sat at the tree right underneath it, and I could see a whole bunch of bird poop everywhere, and I could look up and I saw like a bunch of feathers like up in the branches and stuff. So I know it lives there. Maybe it just sits there and hunts, but I'm pretty sure it lives there because the owl pellets are there. And I don't think owls eat things. I mean, I think they bring them to their nest to eat. I'm pretty sure that's what they do. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's what they do. Um, Another deciding factor that it's an owl hawk, because it was an owl, is the fact that it was out in the daytime. So I sat there. I broke open all the owl pellets. If you don't know what an owl pellet is, I will tell you. Owls eat everything. They just eat the whole thing. And then their bodies absorb what they need, and then they throw up owl pellets, all of the stuff that their body can't like digest or that they don't need. So, in other words, like fur and bones mostly. So, I like to open them up because you find really awesome skeletons. I mean, in owl pellets. And it's not really poop. It's, I found like owls eat a lot. There was like a little mouse skull. There was probably the equivalent. There was a couple of mandibles. I could tell they were mice because of their teeth. They may have been prairie dogs, but I feel like the skull was like the right size for a mouse. If it was a prairie dog, it was like a baby prairie dog, but I don't think it was. I think it was a mouse. Anyways, there was probably like 3 mandibles. Their teeth are like brown and they are actually bone, and they just chew, 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 and they just keep growing out of their mouth as they use them. I digress. So while I was sitting there and it was all like hot, because it's been like in the 80s the last couple of days, the wind has just been blowing crazy, and I was like, could it just rain? Please, could it just rain? Could it just rain, please? And there was literally like no clouds. And there were clouds off that way towards the reservation, but once they've gone that way, they're not going to come back. Like that's the way the wind blows. It blows like from the west to the east or from the south to the north. So there were no clouds. And then last night at like midnight, it rained. It started raining, and it's been raining ever since. Now it's all cloudy, and I love it. I like cloudy weather. I laid on the hood of my car to, well, I was going to try to watch the moonrise, but I mean, I guess I could have, but my car got kind of uncomfortable. Like the hood is all metal. It's just hard. So I laid down at sunset and watched, the stars kind of start to shine and sparkle brighter. And I saw 3 shooting stars. It was awesome. I painted a lot of paintings yesterday. It's been really awesome energy, this full moon energy that's going on right now. I was really excited though about the rain. I was just like, I went outside and stood in it last night at midnight. I was like, thank you, I love you. So, I'm hoping that everybody who actually watched the video, um, listened to the cards, and I'm hoping that everybody was able to let go of whatever you need to let go of. Letting go can be pretty tricky. Um, but I can't tell you that God will never let you down. So if you let go and let God, it's not just a trendy like thing to say. It's an actual action that's very powerful. Let go and let God. Have faith. God loves you no matter what you've done. Um, I have not always been an awesome person. I mean, I'm an awesome person now, but I've not always been this way. I've made so many mistakes. And for a long time, I think I didn't talk to God because I felt like I wasn't worthy to talk to God. I felt like I had done, I just felt like I had made too many mistakes. And then that just kind of became like this feeder cycle where I was telling myself that, so I was feeling that, so then I would keep doing more not great things, you know? And the fact is, the more that I've read the Bible, the more that I've learned, the more and more I learn. Because of Jesus, pretty much everybody that believes in Jesus and believes in God is saved now. Like before Jesus, I I got a book, the Septuagint. A friend of mine has it right now. But basically, it's the Bible when it was translated from Hebrew to Greek. So it's like got Greek and it's got like the translation, the English translation from the Greek, but it's got all of the Apocrypha in it that's not in the New Testament or like the Old Testament. So you get to read all these stories, like the story of Susanna. That took place before Jesus, and part of me is very grateful that I was not alive before Jesus, because I would have been fucked probably if I behaved the way that I behaved in this lifetime. But part of me wishes that I kind of had been around to see that time, because God just bam straight came down when people just believed in him. You know, there, and because Jesus died for our sins, God doesn't just come down, but God still is around. And God still does do epic, epic things for the believers and for all of us who actually can, like, talk to him and put our faith in him. So, but yeah, there was these guys, these lawmen in the story of Susanna, and she was a very, very, very pious woman. She was a wife, and she was going to bathe in her garden, and these lawmen, these guards, they were looking at her and they really liked her and they wanted to have her. And so they waited for her maids to leave and shut the gate. And then they ran down and they told her, basically like, we want, basically we want you. And she was, like, no, I'm married. No, no. She was a pious woman. And so then they told her that they would just tell everyone and her husband that they had seen her with another man in this garden. And she screamed, and her maids came, and the men, the lawmen, the guards said that, they were like, yeah, she was here with this other, younger man. And, they were believing her. They told her husband that. And then they were going to go and, not crucify her, but they were going to go and execute her. And she never lost her faith. She cried. She prayed to God. She knew that she cried because her husband believed that, she had been with another man because these lawmen were telling him that. And she cried because she knew that she wasn't that. And she believed in God, that God would save her. And right before she was going to be executed, Daniel came up and basically called and questioned. He interrogated these two guards, and they both had differing stories. Their stories didn't match up. So in their lies, they basically sealed their fate with God. And by interrogating them, this person that had nothing to do, Daniel, with the story, really, like, no bias, all of the townspeople got to see that they were lying and she was telling the truth, and they saved her and she got to go back to her husband. Bam. Right in the nick of time. God basically came down in some form and made a thing happen, and she was saved. It's pretty epic. It's pretty epic. Pretty epic. Daniel does a lot of cool things. God does a lot of cool things. Um, the cards were saying, though, that Aquarius needs to let some things go, and that there's going to be pathways that are going to be opened up. So I'm just basically, it's been kind of on my mind, has my tribe been able to let go of what they need to let go, or are they being stuck, or are they feeling stuck? Because if we hold on to something, even if it's not a great thing, I was noticing, I said to myself out loud in the forest, because I have so much pain with this whole surgery and this whole reconstruction and all of this stuff. But I was walking and I was hiking and I was just like, wow, it's crazy how comfortable we can get with pain. Because, I mean, I'm still going to hike. I'm still going to go to the gym. I'm still going to try to carry a pallet of water, even though I'm not supposed to. Even though it hurts, I'm still going to do it because we're resilient. That's the way God made us. And I am resilient because I have God. and because I have Jesus. But it's really easy to become comfortable with a pain, with a negative situation, with a darkness, with a thing that we an expectation, an outcome that we desire. It's and if it's not happening, it can be painful and it can be hard to let go. So I'm basically here just hopefully to try to kind of maybe give some inspiration that, you know, all things are possible with God. Your wilderness is God's workshop. So, whatever you need to let go of, if you're having trouble letting go of it, maybe ask God to help you with that. And then go do something fun. And as even if this thing that's got you worried or this thing that you are having a real hard time letting go of, even if it keeps trying to come back into your mind, recognize it and pray in that moment. Ask God to take it away in that moment. You don't have to say it out loud. You can say it out loud. I'm a big, big, big believer in mental prayers. But try to just enjoy this day. Just enjoy this day. Do some things for yourself that make you happy. Do what you actually want to do, what your soul wants to do, what makes your soul feel alive, what makes you feel happy, no matter what it is. Okay, so if you're an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic and drinking is what you think will make your soul happy, don't do that. I'm not trying to say do self destructive things. But I feel like if you're watching me, you're probably awakened enough that you're probably not plagued by very many addictions anymore. But yeah, let go of whatever you need to let go. It can be tricky. You may not know the outcome, but God knows the best outcome for you. And He will never lead you astray. And you weren't put here to be worried and holding on to something that you need to let go. You're here to be the star and showing everybody else how to let go. I hope y'all have a really good Sunday.